but I do read everything. I do read everything. It's not always the same. I believe it's our job. I mean, in my case, I know it's different because of how specialized it gets on the evaluation and the title search. But it just seems that as we speaking on these topics about ethics, ethics has an impact on the whole, in your training, in your licensing, and how far can you should you venture your opinion, okay, and admit this is the boundary of my abilities of what I'm legally authorized to say and advise or interpret it or provide an opinion.
Exactly.
And there's none out there. It's like, okay, why do I often get into taxation myself? Because I'm an attorney at law, and we have Derecho Fiscal, which is tax law, okay? And I have a background as a attorney with the major or largest tax defense firms that is with 𝗕𝗲𝗰𝗵 Grupo Farías, which are very popular. And so my training forces me to have that perspective, so that when I look at things, I just don't look at things as an agent would. I'm looking at things as an attorney from the worst possible case scenario, which is putting everything into the same scope and to find out and confirm, to validate, to interpret, to advise, to address, to update. So my tasks are, I know they're contrasting, but we have to get along together and be able to spot that. But it all starts with the sale. It all starts with the sale. When we say how important is that we are actually talking for the benefit of the buyer. I often ask, when do you keep me away? And they keep saying that you're intimidating. I said, intimidating to whom? The agent or the buyer? The buyer feels I'm protecting him, but sometimes the buyer's intimidated not by me, but the sales person, or in this case, the real estate agent selling, because I keep seeing in different parts, Loreto and La Paz, people coming up and saying, "Oh, Rafael, I have a question. I'm buying this. Oh, you were supposed to retain me. You said so a year ago. I have. Oh, you have Camry. Well, yeah. What kept you from actually retaining? Oh, because the agent so and so in La Paz said that you're not licensed. I said, oh, I'm not a real estate agent. Do you know that? Well, I know that, but he said, oh, okay. So yeah, people are getting out of the way to block me. But it's not me. It's if I'm not trained properly, I'm not going to take out of my business. I'll do what? Get myself trained. Because when you're not prepared, you kind of take a bad to things. And it's okay. It's okay. If that's a manual transmission, it's not a stick shift, we'll have someone else take the wheel, right? But it's nothing wrong to not be ready, but it's just wrong to act the part and fail and betray a client.
And I understand, and from the other side, and not talking about you specifically, but I know how agents feel when it comes to attorneys. And I want to say this maybe broadly because it could involve the attorneys or anybody involved in the transaction, is agents are worried about bringing anybody in that's going to identify problems. And attorneys are really good at identifying problems. The attorneys that we work with, like yourself, we are problem solvers. So most of attorneys come in because they're getting paid one way or another. They're going to collect their money. They're going to get their $5,000, and whether the transaction goes through or not. So the agents get really nervous because the attorneys will come in and they'll identify problems. But we're looking for people going, yeah, we need to identify the problems, and then we got to come up with solutions on how we're going to work through this and get through this so that way we can bring this transaction together. And that's one of the reasons I really like working with you, is you understand the real estate, because like I say, not all real estate agents are created equal. Not all attorneys are created equal either. And some attorneys don't really come in and want to solve the problems. They just want to create more problems. And so and bring the right people in that can overcome whatever the issues are really key to getting these transactions completed.
Yeah, I keep telling people to be careful with the $6 haircut thing, because there's jack of all trades attorneys, and I have no respect for them. And I'm just not that smart, so I decided to focus on what I do every day, and I feel rather competent when I put my name behind everything that I produce, even legal opinion or something. But the thing here is that there's a lot of features that have it's not enough to me to represent people from North America. We're part of North America, I understand that, but the United States and Canada, if you are only bilingual and you're not bicultural and you don't understand the cross-border legal issues of meanings and interpretations, they won't know what they're talking about. Oh, can my IRA be the trust owner? No. Have you been asked that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know why you cannot be the owner of the IRA? You know that an IRA is actually an entity.
Yes, it has to be an investment property, right? I mean, it's got to be used as an investment, and the principal owner cannot touch that property other than have it as an investment, correct?
And so it's like I have clients which are buying property in Rancho La Puerta, and its property start $750,000 and up. And I have clients from different parts, particularly from the Eastern Port. And they often come with questions such as, can my IRA, can my trust fund, can my family trust, can my individual trust? I ask 5 banks if they would consent to having a IRA or a fund or a trust become the trust owner of the property in Mexico. And they say no, because our institutional policies do not permit it. But there's one bank that will accept that. The only problem is that it's not the jobs of the bank, but it's up to you and I tell them, okay, yeah, if when you find a bank that will accept you becoming the trust owner, being the IRA or the fund, just make sure that you're not a homeowner, because it's an entity and you'll be losing out on what? The tax exemption for a homeowner of Article 93 of Section 19 of the income tax law. And that's got quite an impact. It's my job to know.
And all of that should be probably told to the buyer at the beginning so that they can make those decisions that are going to best for them. If it's going to be a short-term purchase, long-term purchase, an investment, all of those things need to be discussed with them at the beginning. Most of the time, some of these are beyond what most real estate agents know, and they need to get somebody involved in that can answer those questions correctly and give them good advice.
Sometimes people ask me, what is it they actually delivering to us? And I remember having a conversation with Senior the other day, which was rather interesting, and it was allowing me to kind of put things in a better order so that we can go step by step in a chronological order, right? People were asking me, you know, I've seen the average closer in Rosarito charging $1,500 to do the closing, and you're charging $5,000? What are you actually doing for that kind of money? Is it protecting your interest? Yeah, could you be specific? Oh, yes. This is how I go about profiling you. What do you mean profiling? I'm not saying that in the sense of race or anything. I'm saying that what is the client's profile? What is the age of the client? Where's he coming from? Where's the origin of his funds? Is that money coming from an IRA? Is it coming from a trust fund? Is it coming from a fiscal paradise in Bahamas or Panama or something? What is it that they expect to get? What is it they plan to do? Is this an investment property? Is this going to be like Airbnb? Are going to be there full time? And there's so many other things that you have to interpret after the interview to make sure that they understand what is it that they're getting into. And it's not only the kind of property, it's where is it that they're buying it, because of the way business is conducted, be that in Northern Baja, be that in San Felipe, part of Northern Baja, or is that in down in Baja California Sur. The thing is that it becomes complex. I like it to the point that I'm not always have the perfect solution or the best interpretation, but I just look at the main things. If this property transactable, what is it that you plan to do with that? And when they insist on having a corporation and all that, yeah, it's if that's what you want. I hope you understand what are the implications, complications, and burdens that you're overtaking what you're giving away, because there's nothing you do in life which is not affected by a trade-off, is there?
No, of course.
And Mexico is not getting anywhere near to the 1031 exchange.
Right.
Know? And obviously not everyone knows this. We know that because it's part of our job, because of the clients I have. And yeah, it'd be great that you were able to sell this property here in San Antonio Mar and put that capital gains or that 1031 exchange over that property you need to buy after you sell this one, so that you apply that towards the other house. But we're not anywhere near.
Right.
So it's part of how complicated it is. I know that those that eventually will listen to what we're talking would like to have us revisit some of the topics, because they're that numerous and so complicated. Again, it's so important to make sure that the bicultural part, the cross-border part, the legal part, the taxation, and the legal part are interpreted properly, because of those meanings interpretation changing as we cross the border.
You know, if there was one thing that I guess we could sum it up with that I really would like to get the message across, is that they need to really choose their agent or their representative. They need to take their time and find the right person, because there is no governing body when it comes to ethics. You need to find the right agent that has ethics and that knows what they're doing, or the right attorney that probably, I would look for testimonials. I would look for past experience. I would do your homework and see, talk to some of the people that they've actually closed the transactions with, and take that little bit of extra time, because in the long run, that little bit of extra time that you're going to take to choosing it, maybe that little bit extra money that you're going to pay. And to me, $5,000 isn't a lot of money for closing fees when you're closing on a $500,000 property or something like that. Taking that little bit extra time for that insurance is definitely going to be worth it in the long run, because I've seen it all down here, and things can go south really quickly, or you can have a really good experience and you can get that close and you can get into your property and have a really good experience. And we hope everybody does.